To say you gotta know somebody, or know somebody to give somewhere these days. To say you know that's alright, yeah that's alright, cause you know that's alright with me. Yeah, you know that's alright, yeah that's alright, cause you know that's alright.
What we want to do tonight is we want to share with you our business plan, what we're up to, and something that we're very excited about, which is buying in Florida. We see a tremendous amount of opportunity there, and we expected a light crowd tonight because a lot of people, if they hear you're investing in another state, they're not interested in it. And you know, investors like to stick to areas that they know, and it makes perfect sense. I'm not knocking that. But what we're trying to do down there is something that we think is going to bring us a tremendous additional return on our money than the deals that we're going to do up here. We're still doing deals up here all the time, but we expect to get a much better return down there. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that tonight. So if you take a look at Florida, there's a funny thing that goes on down there. The real estate market down there has wild swings. So at the top of the market, when things were you know, really crazy up here, it was just total insanity down there. Hey, would you get that camera in the back for me? It was just crazy down there. I mean, 30% additional swings on top of what, you know, the rest of the market was seeing. And then when things started to go bad down in Florida, well, the same thing happened. So it got clobbered, you know, doubly hard as everybody else did. So they got big swings up and they got big swings down. Now that might scare some people, and it certainly would scare me too. But timing is everything in the real estate business. And what we're doing now is we're very, very comfortable that the market is about as low as it could possibly go down there right now. In fact, if you look at the real estate charts over the last 20 years, you'll see that February of 2012, there was a bit of a bounce in Florida. In February of 2012, not necessarily in the form of prices, but the bounce you will see is in the form of smaller inventory, more sales occurring every month. So the kind of signs that you want to see at the bottom of the market is people are starting to buy more down there. And in our opinion, I'll tell you right now, the little pop that's going on down there, it's not going to last. I don't think it's going to last. That's pure speculation, pure opinion, but I believe a lot of it was based on the results of the presidential election, okay, which people were buying down there in anticipation that the federal politics were going to change, and that hasn't happened. Obama obviously won the election, and I think that there was a lot of money ready to get poured down there, and they started ahead of time, and now that portion of the investors is going to pull away. Another thing that you're seeing right now is in Florida, there's always a pop between like December and March. Why? Because that's when everybody's down there. All right? People go down there for vacation, they get all fired up, they love it, they're having a great time, and what do? They buy emotionally without putting a lot of thought into what they're buying. Well, why do you think all these people who develop properties in Florida, they have bus tours, they give away free trips and everything to get 50 people down there, because they know if they get 50 people down there, they're going to sell 3 or 4 houses. And that's, you know, that's what was going on at the top of the market down there. So it's a very emotional place. People are most likely, what are they buying? They're buying second homes, okay, if they're in their 30s and 40s and 50s, and if they're above that age group, they're most likely looking to retire. So it's a very emotional thing. You know, they fall in love with the weather, they fall in love with the beauty down there, and that's what we think is going on there now. So we're anticipating 100% return on our money for everything that we're buying down there right now. Meaning that, you know, if I buy $125,000 duplex that I'm going to rent out as a vacation rental, we're expecting to see, you know, that building being worth $250,000. And I'll tell you a little bit about the first piece that we bought down there. Because in February we made the decision. In February I made a trip down to Florida. What I was really trying to do was I was trying to find a town that I wanted to invest in. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, I just didn't know what town I wanted to do it in. So I had been up and down the East Coast several trips, trying to find a town that I could invest in on the East Coast. I have a lot of family in Florida. I've got an inn in Naples. I got cousins down there. My brother lived down there. My grandmother lived down there. So I was always going down there for the last 10 years to different parts of the state. But just because I was familiar with some of those parts, it didn't mean that's where I wanted to invest. I wanted to invest in the towns where I could get the biggest return on my money, and a place I'd want to be, and a place I'd want to retire, okay, and a place I'd want to have a second home. So it was emotional for me too, but mostly an investment decision. So I did a tour of the West Coast in February, which just happened to be, later on we found out that the market kind of bounced in that month. But I did a tour of the West Coast. I started in Tampa, I went to Clearwater, went to St. Pete, I went to Bradenton, Sarasota, all the way down to Naples, and I came all the way back. And I absolutely fell in love with this part of Sarasota called Siesta Key, which I had never, I had seen it on a map, but I didn't really know what it was. There's a bunch of keys down there. There's Longboat Key, Lido Keys, all these keys. And if you go down there, you gotta kind of drive around to figure it out. But like Longboat Key, for example, you know, it's primarily senior citizens and big bucks. And that's not for me. Okay, I want to be I'm 47 years old. I want to be in a place where I can go out to bars and restaurants and go to the beach. I dig the beach. I love to ride my bike. I prefer to be around people more my age. And we found this Siesta Key, which was the #1 rated beach in the United States in the year 2011. It was voted in. And, you know, you start hanging around there for a little while, and you start saying to yourself, well, hell, if I can do real estate investing up in this Philadelphia area, certainly can do it down here and do it even better. There's so much more inventory down there. There doesn't seem to be a lot of professional real estate investors. Up here, there's a ton of competition. I mean, go into Philadelphia, I got 100 phone numbers of people I know who operate just in the South Philly, Center City area, you know, investors that are down there all competing with one another. And Florida seems to be a little bit more of an open city, and especially in Sarasota, we felt like there wasn't a lot of people like us. We went to real estate investment associations, and you know, they're groups of 30, 40 people, but that's the only real estate investment association in the whole town. So it didn't take us long to get to know some of the major players down there, and we feel really confident that with the skills that myself and Jeremy has, the money that we have behind us, we're going to have a real good time down there making deals. So this first piece that we bought, we decided to buy a duplex because doors are money, okay? The more doors you have, especially if you're going to do vacation rentals. One of the things that was part of our plan was that we were going to buy property that could be used as an annual rented property, or it could be used as a vacation rental. So we basically needed to do duplexes. In Sarasota in particular, they have a local ordinance where if you own just a condo, you can rent it out as a vacation rental, but only monthly. But if it's a multi-family dwelling, you can do it weekly. We wanted to have that option to do it weekly. So we started looking at duplexes, and without some of these condos, they have a lot of condos down there, but they have all these association fees, and especially when there's people not paying their mortgages in some of these buildings, they also stop paying their condo fees. So what happens is a lot of upward pressure on those fees, and we didn't want to get stuck in that kind of trap. So we stuck to fee-simple multi-family dwellings. And this particular piece, this is half of the duplex right here. We bought it for $125,000. Now, if you look at the history of this property in the neighborhood where we bought it, it didn't take a genius to figure out the swings were just crazy. At the top of the market, these properties were selling for $375,000 a piece. That was the highest price we could find, but we found numerous ones all over the area where this one was. And we were getting it for $125, you know, 1/3 of the cost of what it was at the top of the market. And that's why we feel pretty comfortable when we say that, like this house, we expect this thing to be a $250,000 house. Now when? It depends. It depends on a lot of things. Maybe it'll be 5 years, maybe it'll be 8, maybe it'll be 10. It doesn't matter to us. We like the property. By using it as a vacation rental, the first thing we had to do is fix it up real nice and furnish it. So we had to furnish everything in the house. You saw the pictures of the furniture there. And what we do with it is then market it on our website. We got a website called GoSiesta.com where we drive people to this particular house. And we'll give you some of the numbers real quick. Like the cost of the house, including the repairs and everything we needed to put into it, it's going to cost us roughly, our annual expenses are going to be about 12 grand a year. 12 to 13 grand a year. And one side of the duplex is already getting $740 a month, so there's 9 grand right there, okay? And so as a vacation rental, I mean, just to break even, we only needed another 4 grand. Well, this place rents to one side of the vacation rental that you see in the pictures there. We're renting it for $2,500 a month, okay? And we've rented it solid from January 1 until April 7th. We're still getting a ton of calls for the remaining portion of April. We got some people looking at June and July. September is actually a great month there. So what you really will do down there is you'll rent your place full-time during the top 3 winter months. And hopefully we're going to get full-time in April. And then after that, you're going to get maybe a reduced rate. 50% of the time it's going to be rented. And even the weekends, we're told, 100% of the weekends will be rented by Floridians. Just like people from Philadelphia want to go to the shore on the weekend, well, that's what they do in Florida. They hop in their car, they go down to Siesta Key Beach, hang out in this drop-dead gorgeous beach where the sand is just like powder, beautiful white powder.